Everyone, come on in. Let me know if you can hear me. What is going on? We're about to be live with Taria Faison from the What Else Is Going On podcast. As you know, this is what we've been doing since the situation with Real Housewives of Potomac star Wendy Ofo has been going to trial. She's been the boots on the ground. So, oh, you can't hear me? You can't hear me? Testing. Can you guys hear me? Oh, we hear you. Why would that person come in here and say they can't? You turn your volume up, okay? You turn your volume up. Lady J says, excited to see you next Friday at your show. Yes, guys. For those that haven't already, go to the bio and get your tickets. There's a live stream option as well. So, hey, Miss Parker, thank you. Thank you to everyone that can let me know that you hear me. I'm going to block that other person. No, it's okay. It's all right. Maybe the volume was down. All right. Let me know where you guys are watching from. I'm going to bring Taria up in just a second. I will be posting this on YouTube later because I know there's some of you that are not dealing with Meta. Look fine. I will repost this there so that our community there can watch as well. We are going to give you an update in regards to this Wendy Ofo situation. I have some information that I want to share. We have Taria Faison, who has the boots on the ground. We're going to bring her up in just a second. Before I do that, though, today's live. Okay, you guys can hear me. Perfect. Today's live is brought to you by our friends over at Factor. You know, I love a good Factor meal. On a day like today, I'm sure Taria could have used a Factor meal, a meal that is high quality, dietitian approved, yummy, but also you can do it in 2 minutes, more importantly. So we have our friends over at Factor sponsoring today's live. Somewhere between the first warm weekend and realizing short season is getting close. Eating well stops feeling optional. Factor is how I stopped letting a busy schedule be my excuse. Fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. Ready in 2 minutes, no planning, no cooking. Okay? Quality functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. And I love this. No refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. 100 rotating weekly meals to keep things fresh and delicious through winter. Okay. They've got everything from high protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean diet, GLP-1 support, and ready to eat salads. And of course, I've gotten you a discount. Okay. Head to factormeals.com/Kempire50 off and use code Kempire50 off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easier with Factor. More details on Factor will be available in the description. All right. If you're watching a replay of this, don't forget to give us a like and a follow, all of that good stuff. We're going to bring up Taria. Is she back? She is backstage. So let's bring up Taria. Not that she didn't give me the full update. All right. Let me see if Taria is there. All right. Yes, guys. Let me know where you're watching from. Be sure to follow us as well. Taria, are you there?
Hi.
Why do I feel like y'all can't see me?
I feel like, hold on. Is that better?
Look, there we go. So I was like, wait a second.
It would have been, I'm sitting low. That's why. Hold on.
Yeah, why? Because I know eventually by the end of this, you'll be gone. You'll be out the camera.
Hold on. I'm sliding down to my floor.
I know you guys can see it, but we're trying to make sure that you guys can see Taria.
You know what it is? Okay, hold on. I know what it is. Charge it.
Is there an echo, guys? Let me know. There's a slight echo. Maybe I need to take my mic off. Hold on. Let me take my mic and see if that's better. Hold on. See all the technical stuff? Hold on. Okay. I've taken my mic off. Can you guys hear us speak, Taria?
Speak to me.
Is it better, y'all?
Is it better? Yes.
Let's just make sure. Okay. She said, I love your Bob. Don't y'all know that's his Maxine Shaw? Maxine Shaw?
Okay.
I love y'all so much. Can y'all see me?
Perfect. Everyone says perfect. Why do you keep moving? You
Okay.
don't be one of those people. Okay? Don't be one of those people.
What happened was my phone was dying, and the thing that I have it in, there's no thing underneath to charge it. So I had to push my phone up to charge it. So
Okay.
if it starts dying again, I'll just maneuver. I'm good.
It is what it is. Yes, I think I think I don't know. We don't go live here on Instagram a lot, but we have been going live on Instagram to cover this Wendy Ofo situation with Taria Faison, who's been the boots on the ground, the real journalist. We have to first start off with how was everything leading up to your preparation, because there was supposed to be a hearing a few weeks ago and that was canceled. So remind the folks about that and then your setup for today.
First, free Osefo still is backwards. Okay.
I was not prepared for that.
I'm just practicing just in case I have to be out there.
In case of
So,
what?
I mean, in case they end up,
Being innocent? Innocent until proven guilty.
no, I said in case they end up being guilty. I think they're
Oh,
innocent. In case
oh,
they end up being guilty.
oh! You think that they're innocent?
No.
Oh,
But
damn! At least take a moment to think about your answer.
you know what? I saw
Catherine just
somebody
screamed.
saw on Twitter say I saw somebody on Twitter say, are you guys already saying they're guilty? I'm not saying anything. I'm looking at the evidence that I've seen. I'm thinking about the evidence that I've heard presented. That's
That's
what
true.
the fact is.
You've been in the court, so you've been hearing
Yes.
some of the evidence. I mean, this is not everything. This has been the hearings,
Yes.
but but based on what you've heard, the prosecution offer so far, you're convinced.
I'm convinced that there was some funny business going on. So I'll go back. So if y'all remember, back when it first came out, they were going to be co-defendants. Then Wendy filed paperwork. They were going to be tried separately. Then when we went in December, Wendy went up by herself because they were separate. They filed paperwork to be tried together. So then they were supposed to, at the last status hearing, they talked about that being addressed at the one that was supposed to be in February.
Mm.
Well, the day before their status hearing, there was discovery presented. So the next day, they postponed the hearing. Yesterday, there was discovery presented. So I was wondering, are they going to postpone the hearing? And I just want to shout out to y'all, Chantel Panda Pants on Instagram and Reddit, and paging Dr. Pam. Those are my sisters in arms. We are together.
Mm.
We are all in this together. Pam literally
That's
held a
nice.
video recording me. Like, we are like together. So we get there today, and it was in a different courtroom. And it was like, okay, this is a different judge. I had already done my research on this different judge to see what the
Oh, yeah, I
folks
forgot
people
about
say
that.
about him. Totally different judge. This judge has been given awards. This judge has been appointed to special counsels. So this judge seemingly is a fair judge. Now those awards, I'm just going to go ahead and say those awards and these things are given by white folks. So I'm just saying, you got to consider that as well, looking at where we are, Carroll
Mm.
County. So we go. Eddie and Wendy came in. They always come in. If y'all watched Martin, do y'all remember the episode of Martin when Martin thought that he won the lottery and him and Gina came in and like the wind was blowing their hair and they thought that they had
You're
won?
right. Oh my God. Because I saw the video that you took of them. She not only is she a journalist, she's the paparazzi. Because she got video footage of them leaving the court. How, wow. Okay.
So, and that's the way they entered court. When I looked up and saw Wendy in this brand new bust down that's blonde and brown, Mama looked good. She was painted. She was decked out. Eddie was, they kind of it almost looked like they had on matching colors, but I couldn't tell because they came in and me and Chantel were in the middle of a conversation. And it's kind of like, you got to continue on your conversation because like they're literally standing inches from you. They go into the courthouse with their lawyer. And then they only had two of their lawyers today. Last time, I think there were four. They had an older gentleman and a younger woman.
Mm.
They go in, and y'all, this courtroom was so big. It looked like a conference room, and they had TVs
It was a
everywhere.
different courtroom today.
Different courtroom on the first floor. And they sat in the back row. Y'all, I promise y'all this was a strategic move because as much as I think that Wendy, some of this, she liked some of this press, I feel like their lawyers kind of don't, especially when allegedly there was a picture, not allegedly, there was a picture circulating from taken inside the courtroom that somebody might have or might not have taken. And so they sat all the way in the back. So we had no
Mm.
choice but to either sit directly in front of, like in front of them, or right across from them. So we decided to sit across from them up a few benches. So another woman, shout out to Donna. Donna is the woman with the dog that I met before, Griffin. She noticed, she kept looking back. Donna did not care. Donna was like, what is they doing back there? And she wrote a note and said, their lawyers keep staring at you guys. Well, I'm going to fast forward to y'all. Some of y'all may have saw my tweet. After it was all over, Pam and I were outside. I was getting ready to do my video. Pam says, we're going to talk to this bailiff. Because there was like tension and they were like on us, y'all. So she says to the bailiff, and I'm summarizing, but hey, we're not here to cause trouble. We're just here covering. We're sorry. And I knew where she was going with it. So I said, listen, so sorry. We didn't know about the phone thing. I went to court for another housewife that went to jail on her same, and I did like this, on her same show in Montgomery County. We were allowed to have phones. There were no issues. So I thought the same thing here. And you could tell he kind of relaxed. He started laughing with us, joking with us. Y'all, this man said, they were told, bailiffs were told, their one job was to catch us,
Ooh.
not keep an eye on us, to catch us with our phones out.
Ooh.
So, but now we're cool with him. So, you know, because we didn't want no
I
tension.
mean,
We're just used to,
as long as you don't mess up.
right,
And,
as long as I don't, right, exactly. So I'm going to follow the rules. I'm not going to lie. Like, God placed them beside me like angels, because there was a glint in my eye when we walked in. There was a different bailiff, and he said, make sure you have your phones on silent or off. So, you know, my mind, you know, Aries, I was like, oh, so I can have it on. And when I said it to them, they were like, no. I was like, I'm going to leave it in my purse. I'm going to leave it in my purse. The energy around Wendy, when she was talking, I felt like she was talking in that little voice to her lawyer, because
the
she said
baby
something to her,
voice.
the baby voice. Yes. So we get in, y'all. I got to tell y'all, I know this has nothing to do with Eddie and Wendy, but y'all, we had to watch 3 bail hearings. I called Kempire and told him about this. The first one we watched, y'all, it was a lady. She was given 10 years, all 10 years suspended. Just be good out on bail. Just don't do nothing, mama, out on bail. The police get to this woman's house. She has a semi-automatic. She has amphetamines in her panties, and she had fentanyl in her car. I said, she ain't getting out. No, she didn't. She didn't get bail. She didn't
And
get
this
bail.
was virtual.
Virtual. And
So
this
where
is what
was
I
she, in jail?
they were in, all 3 of these were in jail. And I said to Pam and Chantel, I said, Wendy and Eddie watching this, we're
Right?
looking at them in jail. How are they feeling, thinking they could be, months from now, they could be where these inmates are? I literally, that's all I could think about,
Mm.
because I was watching it and it made me think, girl, ain't nothing worth picking up your phone while you driving. You don't want to end up there for something like, you
Not
don't
even
ever,
for a moment.
I'm like Ashley Darby. That's my biggest fear. Anyway.
Okay, wait. Can we do a little bit of sidebar? Because there's a lot to unpack with you guys. Don't forget, I'm here with Taria Faison from the What Else Is Going On podcast. Be sure to follow her. Also, let people know what your Cash App is, because it's not cheap. You're not getting paid by an outlet to go.
Thank you, y'all, because I needed lunch then, and I could have used
A couple of
money
dollars.
to put on a factor meal plan.
So what is your Cash App?
Taria, T as in Tom, Aria, middle initial S like Sam, last name Faison, F as in Frank, Aison. Nothing fancy. Jesus is Lord, number 67 by the side of the road. Nothing, just Taria S. Faison.
And I'll post it in the description later. And I'm sure it's on your profile here on Instagram, right?
Yes. I
Okay.
think you told me to do that last time.
Yeah, yeah. Just want to make sure that it was done.
Y'all
But
about to
can we
witness
just
the
backtrack
fight.
before we get to the trial? Because I know some people are just getting this.
Mhm.
You also attended the Reality Rundowns event with Ashley Darby on
Mhm.
Sunday. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that experience? Because you also had a couple of interviews that you did for
Yes.
that.
It was really nice. First of all, it was my first red carpet. It
Mm,
was really, really nice. I took in a lot. You know, those of us doing content creating, or those of you watching, whatever it is you want to do, always remember to stay open, to take notes. We're always learning, no matter what. And
yeah.
I was kind of looking, watching, learning the ins and outs. Ashley came in. For those of you that have been watching me, y'all know I have my personal feelings about that woman.
You love her. You're a stan, apparently.
How dare you? The live has been canceled, and so has the show. Um, how How dare you?
Oh
I'm
wait,
gonna have
can you remind me again what your Cash App is so I can pin it?
oh, Tia and
Taria.
Tom,
I know how to
ARIS.
spell your name.
TariaSFaison. Am I still
F.
echoing? Because I see maybe it's frozen. Earlier it said Taria.
Oh, it's probably frozen on your side. I can see the people. So it's Taria SFAISON, right?
You should know how to spell my last name.
I know.
Yeah.
I just want to making sure because I'm putting down your Cash App, so I want to make sure that
Oh
people are
yeah.
able to.
Can you
You know,
imagine?
I don't want to send it to some other Taria.
Are you the first one to send something? Send $100.
Wow. Do you see this? Do y'all see this? That was yeah. That we're good.
Okay.
It must have frozen on your end. I don't know why. This is why I don't do a lot of Instagram lives. Okay. Back to what you were saying.
So
So you interviewed her.
her
What?
energy.
Okay, go ahead.
We all know that for as much as her and Candace went back and forth, Candace has maintained that they have fun off camera. All the ladies have said it, and I can be honest, I get it. I can see why. And you're watching her and she's talking to you, and she has very strong energy around her.
Mm.
Like she's just very, like, draws you to her. But then you hear her get on stage and talk about Tia and maybe something coming for Tia next week, and then talking about next season, talking about Sharice having financial issues, and you go, and that right there is why it would have to stop at a fun time.
Mm.
Because I think that you want to think she's doing it for the show, and maybe she was doing it for this, but it was like, I don't think it was necessary to talk
Yeah.
about Tia and to talk about Sharice's financial
Yeah.
issues. Some things just didn't seem necessary. But she seems really fun. And I asked her the question about Candace because I could feel from her vibe, she gonna answer whatever I ask her. And so
Mm.
I said, I'm gonna go for it. And I'm gonna ask her the question. And then y'all, she told me that I reminded her of Maxine Shaw. What y'all didn't see was right as she walked up, I looked her up and down. She looked at me, I looked at her, and I said, well, you're not a catfish. And she said, thank you for clarifying. And she started laughing, and we had a little bit of a banter then. But she was very much open to answering questions. She knows how to entertain. She didn't sing, so that was a bonus.
That was a bonus. Thank you, God, for
She
that.
did not. And she played trivia, like questions like, what was Katie's boyfriend's name in the first season? Andrew. What
Mm.
restaurant did I take the ladies to? So that was kind of fun
Mm.
for the audience. But yeah, she was very messy during the sit down. She was messy, messy, messy. She spilled the beans about it being Monique's child that was bleeped
Did you
out.
see what Monique said? Yes, was it yesterday, Monday?
Clearing Stacy.
Yeah. Your thoughts on that?
That I'm not surprised. I knew Monique never thought it was her in the first place. Monique needed to come back, and she got back in and slipped right back into her old ways. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You were so healed that you decided to bring the binder that you said was one of the most embarrassing parts of your time on the show, and you decided to come back and call yourself a binder bitch and all that. But yet, no, you're not healed. Not
I've
fully.
been
I don't.
saying this about Monique, but nobody want to
Yeah.
listen to me.
And I think that it was convenient to jump on the Stacey bandwagon, to not go against the girls because she was just coming back. Monique polls the audience in her own little way. She's been doing it since she's been on the show with this social media thing. So she saw that the social media was for Stacey. So now all of a sudden she is, I'm clearing Stacey. I also wonder if she thinks that Giselle not getting a package kind of sent a message. So she's like, maybe I'll kind of try to tiptoe out of that boat that I think is sinking and
Mm.
maybe get on the boat and still I rise. Maybe she wants to,
Ah, okay.
because I
That's
don't
a
trust Monique.
possibility. That's a possibility. A lot of people are speculating because Giselle didn't get a package that maybe that's a sign that she's not going to come back. What are your thoughts on that? I don't believe that's anything, to be
Yeah, I
honest
don't
with you.
think she's not coming back. If it was to be, and I burped. Did y'all hear that? I hope y'all hear that, child. Excuse me. Carbonation. I think she's coming back. I think if it was anything at all, it was just a, hey,
Like a tap on the shoulder.
yeah, maybe something like that. But I don't think they would go as far as to remove her. I don't think it would be a bad idea for her to take a break and then come back and let us see what's going on, like during your break. There's no way that you should be, because I feel like you reaffirm what we've been saying. For you to say, let me tell you about my life, I've been dating. Well, then that begs the question, why haven't we seen it? We're not asking for your blood type. We're not asking, but you give us nothing when it comes to you. I mean, yeah, you talked about your dad's, estate and the white woman keeping all of his NAACP stuff. But other than that, and we didn't even really get your feelings on that, like really get into that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind if she took a season off. I feel like with Potomac,
But she wouldn't do that herself.
yes,
That's the
they would have to
thing.
do it.
Production would have to do that.
And I don't think they want to do
Not
it.
production, the network.
I think it would have to be one of those things where if the audience just became so like, if that was the overwhelming noise around Potomac, then I think maybe they would. I don't think it's something that they would do though.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't
Don't be
think.
surprised though next season when she returns, I believe she will be returning, that she will have some sort of storyline.
And we'll see tears for some reason or other.
You also at the reality TV rundown event that they had in DC, you also did an interview with Neca.
hmm
So, thoughts?
Her energy was very warm. I was shocked.
She looked beautiful.
She, in person, even more stunning.
Mm.
Very tall. I
Mm.
straightened my spine when I stood up next to her. I said, "You ain't gonna be towering over me like that." So I straightened up my spine. And what was interesting, what caught my attention was when she first walked in. She had no idea who I was or that I was with them. She may have thought I was just there because of where I was standing. And so she walked through and we made eye contact and she was like, "Hi." And then so I was like, oh, normally they don't always do that. They just kind of look straight. They don't look to the left or the right. They just get to their section. She was very much welcoming. Her energy was very welcoming. Even on the red carpet, it was like, "I'm going to show you pictures of my son." And da-da-da. She was very, and who's to say that she just doesn't know how to work a room? I mean, to me, people can say what they want. She wants to be back. That's why she was there.
Without a doubt.
With,
She goes to the opening of an envelope. She's always around these girls.
yes. So, and she did say she was friends with them. If y'all, I don't know if y'all seen it. I don't know if I did post it. I asked her what did she get out of what's one thing that surprised her out of her time on the Real Housewives of Potomac. She said that I'm getting fan mail. So, you're thinking, oh, DMs, this, that. And she said, no, people were actually writing her letters. And I said, to your home? And she said, yeah. And she said, it's no hate. It's all good stuff. And I said, we're going to need you to get a P.O. box.
Right?
But that really showed me like that excited her to get the fan mail at the house. And
It's
y'all
very
are,
clear she wants to be back on the show, and I can't blame her.
yeah, exactly. Because now she's had a child. She has this business. I really was interested actually in her. She is a Black woman who now has a wine in Total Wines.
Remember,
So I
she was
asked,
promoting it when it was on the One and Done season that she was on.
she
You don't
was
remember? You don't remember her talking about her
at
wine?
all.
Yes, she even had them come over there and taste it.
I completely must have blocked that season out of my mind because you know what it was? The way she came in. And for me, as a Black woman or the Black young girl who went to a majority white school, more white folks than Black folks when I was younger, my name, Taria, and you have to constantly correct people. And so when she came on and was introduced to Wendy and the ladies were saying her name wrong, and Wendy's like, oh, I know how you say it because they shared the culture, and Wendy corrected them. And she was basically like, they can say it how they want to say it. I already was like, oh, because for me, I would have wanted nothing more than somebody that looked like me to be like, no, her name is Taria.
Mm.
So that kind of like threw me a little bit. So I felt like the energy that she came in with was very different. But the Neca that I met was extremely nice. She talked about the
I've always
business.
heard that though about NECA.
Really?
Yeah, from multiple people that have interacted with her, like
Okay.
just behind the scenes. I've never heard anyone say anything necessarily, oh my gosh, she's mean, she's a terrible person.
Okay.
I've
Okay.
never heard anyone say that. So I think she really did have a bad season, so I can see why some people would like for her to at least have a redemption arc when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But do you think that's possible with Wendy right now?
It would almost be like Wendy would have to be gone for
Mm,
her to come back.
yeah.
Because at this
Just to see
point,
her without that aspect.
yes, and it's
Mm.
already left such an impression on people. I think even for some people that didn't even like Wendy, we're still kind of taken aback, like, whoa, this is not something we wanted. And even if it wasn't them per se, but if people felt like producers were putting them up against each other, we just didn't want to see that, not that way. So
No.
It's a shame because it seems like she had a lot on paper. She would seem like she has a lot to offer. She's still a lawyer. You know, she's got the business, she's got the baby. I asked her, how is this first year of motherhood affecting her marriage? Because sometimes you've wanted this for so long, you finally got it. Do you lose yourself in your baby? How has that affected your marriage? She said it's actually made them closer. They're both obsessed with him. So
Mm.
these are questions that, as a woman watching this show, that I would want to know. Like, how is that with motherhood? How's the sex? I mean, and not graphic, but I'm just saying, because mothers watching this, you know, you're like, girl, I lost my libido for 6 months, or what have you, just things like that. And it's a shame that she entered the way she did. Her wine was a sponsor.
Oh, okay. So that's why
Yeah.
she was in the building. Um, CB mom says she was so mean to her husband too. V Gill says Wendy will be gone. Damn. Well, damn. Catherine says I'm good. We got enough going on. Damn. And Catherine says I forgot she was a lawyer because they didn't really talk about her being a lawyer that
Right.
much,
Right.
on her one season.
Yeah.
But for those, I vamped enough to give people a moment to get here. Make sure you share the live, guys. If you're watching the replay of this, be sure to share your comments and thoughts. I wanted to talk about everything Potomac related. We will be talking about this and some exclusive tea at my live show, Kempire After Dark. The villain era continues. March 13th, that's next Friday. Next Friday, Taria will be our host, and she'll be spilling some tea that she's been hearing about in those DMV streets, more so in those Baltimore streets. But,
Don't do it. Don't do it.
but we won't go there. But she will be spilling it exclusively at the show. But she is going to
And wait,
spill.
a little bit
What?
of tea that I told you today that's kind of close to me that I didn't know about. We'll spill a little bit of that, what I told you earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
yeah.
So there's a lot. There's a lot. So if you're in New York, get your tickets. But there's also the live stream option for those that are from around the world. If you want to get that tea, it's happening next Friday here in New York City, and Taria will be our MC. All right, Taria. Now let's get to this hearing. You already talked about the bust down that she was wearing. Let's talk about let's talk about what happened today because everyone is reporting. You are the boots on the ground. You had the exclusive that they are going to have separate trials for Wendy and Eddie's insurance fraud case. Give us
Yes.
all the details from beginning to end. So you already set up the scene. So you had
Yes.
to listen through some other people's bail hearings.
So
And then finally, what happens?
so Eddie and Wendy go up together. This is the first time we've heard their voices in court. They had to state their names,
Mm.
their address, of course. So they start with Eddie, and they say Eddie has waived his right uh, to
To a speedy
Hicks,
trial.
and yeah, and it's called Hicks, and
State
under a
versus
speedy
Hicks.
trial. Yeah, we'll say it again.
State versus Hicks. That was
Yes,
the,
they
that was the case.
go ahead. My friend is smart. My friend is kind. My friend is important. But he waived his right. And I didn't know that a speedy trial meant you are basically promised to have a trial within 180 days of you first being charged. So that was something that I learned.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. So he said he understood. So the judge asked him back, "Do you understand?" His lawyer had to stop and basically read what it was, what you were waiving. He said he advised him. The lawyer advised him based on his advisement to do this because some discovery has some extensive discovery were the words he used has
Mm.
come in, and Eddie wants to do a deep dive into the discovery. Now remember, and I made a mistake in my video today. I said April 15th. Eddie's case was going to be April 22nd, his actual trial, but because of this they're pushing it back, so he will have another status hearing on May the 20th. So I feel
Mm.
like they're trying to push this all the way out. Now I'm gonna be honest, I was watching the prosecution when she was talking, and it was almost kind of like almost like, I mean, okay, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, like
Yeah.
she seemed it seemed like they're very confident in what they have. So Eddie's is gonna be pushed back. Then they get
Mm.
to Wendy, so we're thinking, okay, that means Wendy's is too, because they're gonna be co-defendants, right?
Mhm.
And they say, Wendy, state your name, blah blah blah. She does, and they say Wendy does not waive her right to
To
the
a
Hicks
speedy trial.
trial. And
Mm.
I was like, wow. So all of our mouths literally were like, what does this mean? And basically Wendy wants her trial to happen as soon as possible. Y'all, the defense was, and in my video I said the defense and the prosecution, yes, they were talking to come up with dates, but it was the defense that was on her computer, like looking for dates in March. Y'all, they mentioned next week. Like, that's how quick. And
Yeah.
my question is, if Wendy's, because the judge said that they haven't had all their status hearings that they would have because they kept getting postponed. So I was thinking, if Wendy's willing to have her trial in March, that means she wouldn't have even had all of her status hearings. And you're willing to do that? So someone made a good point and said, by her doing that, that would force the prosecution to try to like scramble to get all
Yeah.
of their information.
Because at the end of the day, it's the burden of proof is on the prosecution, not the defense. That's why they only need 1 day for the defense to plead their, to respond to the state's case.
And that was another thing when they said 4 days. So I started thinking, well, when do they select jury? I didn't know everything happened within those 4 days. It was,
Hmm.
Dr. Pam let me know, because I'm like, how long are we gonna be here? Like, how about, like,
Well,
wait a
I
minute.
mean, it could depend.
Yeah,
They might be able to find a jury very quickly, but
I think her
jury
defense,
selection is very important for them.
and I think that their defense team is going to use it to their advantage. Y'all guys remember back in January when they had their status hearing, their defense attorney was he kept pointing out jury of their peers, jury of their peers. So I think that the defense might use that to their advantage. Like, can we not find it? Like, I don't know how that would work for
It
them.
makes me wonder. I feel like if that were the case, that they really felt like they couldn't find a jury of their peers, they would have already asked for this to be moved.
That's right.
Yeah, and they haven't done that. So, but I do want to backtrack to what you said when Eddie went up and said that he's waiving his right to a speedy trial. You mentioned that the attorney said that he has advised Eddie to do that
Hmm.
because of the amount of evidence. So
Yes,
that's interesting. That's a
that's
very important detail to note.
very telling, because that means, and it may not be just the bank records from 10 years. Clearly, it could be a whole lot more. Like I said, there was some turned in just yesterday. There were some turned in last month, a day before their trial
Mm,
was supposed to be last month.
hmm.
So it's like, you have to wonder what else is
Yeah.
there.
I
And
mean, this is potentially like this is financial crimes happening. So there's probably so much that they have to go through,
mhm,
and there's so much evidence that the prosecution believes that they have against them. So they probably just want to see, is this realistic to fight, or do we discuss possibility of a plea deal? So I
yeah,
still feel like that is still an option here because a lot of people are when you broke the internet with that statement that they're going to have separate trials. A lot of people already speculated, is Eddie going to take the fall? And my initial reaction was, no, it doesn't sound like that because she still has to go to trial.
right.
But when I kind of go through, if you do a little research, a little Google schmoogle, the only reason why you would probably want to separate their cases for a variety of different reasons, and I wrote this down, their defense may conflict in regards to how they're going to handle this. Evidence admissible against one could unfairly prejudice the other.
Oh,
One defendant's strategy could complicate the other.
there.
Oh, well, implicate the other. So there are a variety of reasons now after doing a little research, because I'm not an attorney, just to emphasize that for those that are watching this, that okay, this probably makes a little bit more sense as to why they want to keep it separate. Because we
Right.
also have talked about in season 9 where she says, "Oh, I don't pay certain bills and things like that." So I don't know what approach that she might be taking in this particular case, but it will be interesting at trial to see what direction that they go in.
Hmm.
And the fact that Wendy's not waiving her right to a speedy trial, and she's like, we can go in there. At the end of the day, you guys have to prove something. All I have to say, I had no idea. We
Yeah.
still don't know whether or not she even responded to Eddie's email.
Right. Because that hasn't come out at
And if she
all.
didn't, probably case closed. Well, no, not
Yeah.
case closed.
But yeah. And that's why I'm wondering if that's their, like you said, like, is that their strategy, like, for that reason? Because I was talking to my mom about this, and I said, if me and my mom were to rob a bank and I say, I can't then come back and say, I'm going to take the fall. Because if she did it, if there's reason to believe that she did it, or if there's proof, one person can't just come back and say, well, I'm going to take it, can they? But then I guess if they have a lawyer behind closed doors, they can negotiate with the.
Well, I mean, again, it will be interesting to see the angle that they're going to take in regards to this, because there probably is enough information in regards to her own part in this, because she has 16 counts too.
Yes. And
He has 18.
she was wearing one of the ring. I mean, she was wearing her ring, and it's like, you can't plead like, oh, I didn't know what was going, like, to,
I
like
mean, she could
nowadays.
technically. She's like, I didn't know he put it on there.
And it's like, but if he emailed you and said, what else can we put? But then
I
again,
didn't
you
get the
can't
email.
prove,
I didn't
right.
respond.
I didn't respond. And I didn't know that he called the insurance company and said, the last I knew, he called the insurance company and said, I had it and it was fine. I didn't know he called 2 days later. He did that behind my back.
Or I have no idea. He pays all the bills. He handles all these things. I had no idea. I
The only
mean,
thing we can say, though, is if they listed the ring and they both signed it, they
yeah.
also both signed the affidavit saying they did
But
not
did
replace
she?
anything.
But did
They,
she?
they,
Did she?
yeah, they both
Okay.
signed, and that came out in the last trial. They both signed an affidavit saying, a sworn affidavit, that they hadn't replaced anything in the
Um,
home.
because a lot of people want to compare this to the Teresa and Joe Giudice of it all,
Mm,
which we can definitely use that as something, but we have to remember, different state, different judge, different jurors. All of that's going to take a very important it's something to take into account.
right.
Um, because the other aspect, which we've talked about when we were covering the Diddy trial, it's going to be very critical for the defense when it comes to jury selection.
Hmm.
And that's going to be probably the most interesting part for you to watch when
Yeah.
if this goes to trial,
Yeah.
because we don't know. They could take a
Yeah.
plea deal.
Yeah.
If this goes to trial, pay attention to the jury selection, who they decide, who they fight against, because that might be what will get them convicted or off.
So there was a lady today, and people are still enamored by the thought of them being stars. There was an older Black woman today. If you look at my video, you see steps. So you have to kind of walk up to the steps to go into the room, and there's a railing. And I see the lady standing on the steps at the top, and I'm walking to my car, and she says, excuse me, can you get my cane for me? So her cane must have fallen through the railing. So I was like, of
Oh,
course. So I go over, right? I go over, get the railing. Get the cane, give it to her. And she goes, did you see the stars in there? And I said, yeah, I saw them. And she said, I couldn't believe it. So then I was like, did she come just for the trial? So I said, what are you here for? And she said, my son. And then I saw them there, and I was like, wow, but I'm praying for them. I said, I think we all are praying for them. And I said, good luck. I said, I think we all are praying for them, and good luck to your son. Because I didn't get no deeper. I didn't seen enough today.
we could have got more details. Like, what's your son here for?
What your son do? Did he know the woman that had the amphetamines in her drawers?
Oh, you know what? Goodbye. Goodbye. All right. So, backtracking for those that are just joining us, I'm here with Taria Faison from the What Else Is Going On podcast. Her Cash App is below because she's not being paid to be an independent journalist at this trial and getting you guys information. So, any way that you can support, $5, $10, $100, no matter where you can support, that will pay gas money because she don't live in Carroll County.
Don't start. But you know what? You're right. On this case,
I
I got
mean, Danielle might say you live in Carroll County, but you don't live in Carroll County.
and looky, Miss Cookie I told Kempire was in my DMs saying, shout out to you for driving. I said, baby, I jumped on 695 and took it all the way down so it couldn't go no more. So
Mm.
yeah, it's definitely a trip.
Backtracking just to set up the room in regards to this. The last time that we covered this and we talked about this, we talked about media being there covering this case. And I said to you, I feel like Wendy or someone in their team called the media. And I like to say that I'm right because this time around, was there any media there?
Not a
Besides
piece
yourself, of course.
not a piece of media there. Not a piece. ABC News, NBC News, AOL News. No one was there.
Wow.
No one. And I kept seeing different people walk by the courtroom. So I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if more people are going to be coming. No. And I was able to park right in front of the courthouse this time. There was no one there. I do think they are, I've said this before, I think Wendy, and of course she doesn't enjoy the situation she's in. But for some people, being in the press, being out there, you saw the video of them walking to their car. If you don't think that they didn't know that clearly we're videoing them and taking pictures of them as they're walking. That's why she came with a face beat to the gods. Again, she looked amazing. The new hair, the this, and it was very much like, I told you, Karen was right when she said Wendy slithers. Wendy has a slither. I have seen it multiple times now.
Only
Yeah.
for us to find out Karen's the real snake. But
And the words of Mrs.
Jarrell says
Shucks,
that you
Karen
are
has,
the media, but you are the
thank you.
media. You are the media, but they didn't call you to cover it.
They
You
should,
did it
Wendy
on your
didn't ring
own.
my phone.
Yeah.
And how about I find, look, and the T, I feel I find out she might know somebody that know me. And she didn't ring my phone. Anyway.
Mm.
But thank
So
you for that.
yes, yes, everyone's saying it. So, but backtracking. So
Mhm.
Eddie goes up. He says that he's waiving his right to a speedy trial. Wendy goes up and she says she's not
What they
waiving.
were standing next
They're-
to each other because they went up because they were holding hands first, and he
okay,
was.
okay,
This is their
petting her
time
hand,
between us.
petting
Yeah.
her hand. All right.
And so they were
Um,
next to each other.
did she use a baby voice?
It was so low in there, you almost couldn't hear her. Like I just
So,
knew
so
that
she was using that baby
probably
voice.
pretty much, yeah. And let me tell you, after it was over, me and Chantel have a difference of opinion on what we think was said. But either way, as we're walking out of the courtroom, I'm gonna jump forward a little bit.
Mm,
Wendy and Eddie are in front of us. They walk out, they walk from the front, walk directly out. So we're walking out behind them. And the prosecutor has the door in her hand, like the prosecutor was out. And Wendy goes up to the prosecutor. I thought she said, "Thank you." And the prosecutor was very much like stern.
mm.
Chantel said that she thinks the prosecutor had a loss, and Wendy said, "Sorry for your loss. Either way, I shall not be moved." That prosecutor was like,
I mean, the prosecution, they have to, show that level of professionalism in
yeah,
regards to like I'm prosecuting them. And I'm sure they've had people that have done worse that try
yeah,
to befriend them to go a little bit easier on me.
mm-hmm.
We saw it with the Diddy trial. We saw Diddy
Yes,
trying to do that with the jury, and you saw that Diddy got in trouble for even doing that.
yeah.
So I'm not surprised that Wendy did that, and I'm not surprised at the prosecutor's reaction. Like, okay,
I wish I had heard it because y'all know I would have tweeted exactly what they said, but I didn't want to not. I know what I think they said. I know what Chantel. So it could have been hers, mine, or either. But I just know I was kind of taken aback because it happened so fast. I was kind of taken aback when I saw her go up to the prosecutor. I'm like, I wonder what is she saying, like to her, and then
yeah.
just. But now we can get back in the courtroom now.
Well, here's the thing. In regards to the prosecution, I think you should try and get a statement from them the next time you're
Okay.
there, just to hear their thoughts. If they might say, no, sorry, we're not speaking to the media or whatever it may be, and then you can just be like, oh, you think I'm the media? But no, I think you should definitely try and get a question or two out of them just to kind of get their state of mind in regards to this
Oh,
case, and especially at the end of the case to hear their thoughts.
you know how
And
I'll get her? I'll say,
uh,
what bag is
not
that of
get her.
yours? Well, I'll say, girl, I'm into bags. You mentioned that your most expensive bag was not $8,000 like Dave Steffels, but it was 300. What bag is that? Is that the Coach blah 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 bag, the 26 or the whatever? And then boom. By the way, what did you think when you? Okay,
I mean, they're prosecutors. They're not going to give you more than they
yeah. Then they
that's
can. Yeah,
public, but it'd be nice to kind of get some sort of their perspective on this.
yeah, yeah.
Like my question to the prosecutor, like, have you been watching the
That's
episodes of Real Housewives of Potomac?
that's what I was gonna. I want to
Will
know.
that be used in your case?
Did you watch the reunion? Are you taking notes? Do you have a team that is specifically dedicated to? I was literally because they were taking notes.
Yeah. I mean, I would. I mean, I
Did what?
was.
Did Wendy's of the information match up with what's on the police report? Like
Mm-mm.
what's
Yeah. I think people are confused about the ring that they're talking about because I think a lot of people see the ring that she's currently wearing, thinking that that's the ring that the prosecution is talking about. I don't think it's the same ring, y'all. I think
they
they're talking about the ring in that photo. I don't know if it's the same ring she's currently wearing.
because they said it was the wedding ring, so
Mm.
I just assumed it
They
was.
said it was a wedding band, right?
You know what? I'm gonna see if I can go back and exactly. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can go back.
Yeah. I mean, okay, but I mean, we'll see in regards to, I'm sure that's going to come up during the trial. All right. So Wendy goes up there in her baby voice.
Yes,
And
her baby voice and blonde hair.
Okay. I mean, it wasn't it was a little bit darker. It wasn't a Karen Huger blonde.
Yeah, it wasn't a 613.
Okay, it wasn't a 613.
It was probably a 27.
Anniversary band. Thank you. Uh, Gryphon mom. Gryphon mom.
Oh,
Griffin's mom.
Griffin. That's
Griffin's mom.
Donna. Hey, Donna.
Okay. All right. All right. She goes up there. She's not waiving her right to a speedy trial.
Yeah,
She's not
no,
waiving it.
no.
Okay. Then what happens?
Then my mouth, Donna's mouth, Chantel's mouth, a couple other people like, what happened? No, our mouths dropped. Then they start talking about wanting an earlier trial. And I didn't bring my notebook up with me. So I'm trying to remember like all the stuff
Really?
downstairs. But
Really?
I'm good.
Luckily, I studied what you said.
I'm good because I'm a journalist now.
Okay.
But
Okay,
so
Maxine Shaw, attorney at law. You're also an attorney.
I'm Maxine Shaw, attorney at law with the B.O.B. Bob.
Yeah.
So
Glasses. Oh, she went. Yeah. She wore a lighter shade of
it was brown, and it was almost like a blonde. They call it like a brown blonde. So it was
mm,
probably 27, like a caramel color. It was definitely one we haven't seen on the show.
mm. Okay.
So that
Okay.
was something different. So
And
now they're talking.
if you follow Taria on socials, specifically here on Instagram, she posted the footage, so you can see it there.
Yes, and if y'all see me go up for a minute, y'all will see me come back down. But right now, I'm trying to plug my
And
phone.
as I'm doing that, I'll remind you guys I have a live show. Taria will be our hostess with the mostest here in New York City on March 13th at the Green Room 42. Ticket information is available in my bio. If you can't come to New York, you can watch via the live stream. There are details that she's specifically not sharing with you, especially some of the tea that she's gotten in those DMV streets about Wendy and Eddie. And she will be sharing them exclusively at our live show. So go get your tickets today for that. And of course, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of other stuff from traders to Nicki Minaj to a bunch of different things. Okay.
Yeah,
So, and this is my only show I have planned for 2026. So you better go get your tickets. All right.
I'm
All
trying
right.
to work on him for DC, y'all. Though I'm trying.
All right.
I'm
So
still
back to
working.
this. So back to this. She weighs her right.
She
Then what
waives her
happened?
rights. She wants a sooner trial,
Hmm.
and clearly sooner than the April. Again, originally April 15th, and I keep wanting to call them Weddies. Wendy's April 15th, Eddie's April 22nd. Clearly she wants a sooner one. So they needed I forget the word. It was either there wasn't a date where both were available, like a jury something and something like there wasn't a date where both were available. So the judge said, I'm going to call down to assignment. I'm going to call down to assignment to see if we can get a date. So in the meantime, the defense is looking at her schedule, and she's got court in Baltimore. She's got this, she's got that.
Mm.
And the prosecution is just kind of like, there. So they're trying to pick dates. But when I heard March and they mentioned dates for next week, we were like, that is really
Next week.
quick.
Yeah.
Next week. So there was potentially, it could have been next Monday or Tuesday. They said March 13th. I said they can't. I think that was one of the dates, or maybe it was the 16th. And I kept thinking, it better not be the March 13th or Kempire. We're gonna have to do the live, like we're gonna have to do the show. No, reporting from Carroll County. I'm on my way to Kempire. But so when they couldn't come to an agreement, he said at this point, basically at this point, it doesn't matter that you're not waiving your right to a speedy trial because it has to be pushed out anyway now, which I'm not sure why it just couldn't go back to the original April 15th date. Because in
Mm.
my video,
Maybe something else was booked.
well, I'm wondering, and I made another mistake when well, you know what? Let me go back. It might not have been a mistake because I said there were no available dates for March or April, but clearly it had to be booked because they would have given her the April date. So
Yeah.
now I think they're both having they are both having their status hearings on May 20th. So we went from her
Mm.
trying to get a speedy trial, her trying to do it in March. I know I keep saying that, y'all, but think about this. This case has been ongoing. They've been postponing status hearings. Eddie is waiving his right to a speedy trial. Wendy is not, and you want something in March.
Yeah.
Like
We
that's
are in March right now, so that's very quick. It's a quick turnaround.
yeah, we're almost in the middle of March. Like they
Calm
touch
down,
base.
calm down. It is only the 4th. We're not in the middle of March.
I
It's the
said almost,
4th.
almost. Next week we're in the middle of March. That's
No, we'll
almost.
be in the middle of March on my live show, March 13th.
Next
Okay.
week, 8 days, almost.
Griffin's mom said May 20th at 1 p.m. She's
Yep,
got the
May
time
20th.
down.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
So but y'all
So
think
that's the
about that.
next update that we'll have in
That's the
regards to
next
this case,
status. Yeah.
unless there's
So,
a plea deal in between now and then.
and I'm wondering if they're going to be like, when they say deep dive, what exactly is the deep dive that Eddie's going to be doing on his part? And what are we going to be doing for on Wendy's if Wendy's not concerned with doing a deep dive? But Eddie's attorney specifically said he wants to do a deep dive on
Yeah.
the extensive discovery. Let's remember that word, extensive
We have to keep
discovery.
in mind the last time you went there, the prosecution wanted approval about getting financial statements,
Their business stuff
and
too.
they were approved for that. So I'm sure some of that was some red flags in that. Ink says in the chat, "Hi Kempire, could it be that she wants the trial included for filming?" I don't think that's what Wendy's thinking about right now, y'all. I think there is a portion of that, but when it comes to figuring out the dates and whatnot with this, I'm sure she's taking the advisement of her attorneys.
There was a part of me that did wonder if Eddie, and I know this could be out there, y'all can let me know, this could be out there. I could be really like overthinking it because it could be something very simple or it could be something. But in my mind, I was thinking with my gut, again, my gut feeling when I heard that was, oh, Eddie's going to take the fall. But I think you used a better word, or a brunt of it. Is she trying to film hers quickly? I mean, to do hers quickly before filming. And then if she got house arrest or if she didn't get anything or if they were putting it all on Eddie, then we would film her dealing with Eddie's fallout.
Mm,
That would be her story. Me dealing with Eddie going through trial versus all hers would be done and wrapped up. That
yeah.
was part of what I was wondering. Like, I'm
I think
surprised.
I think it probably has more to do with their children and
Okay.
figuring that out. But again, there are right now we all we can do is speculate because there are a variety of reasons why you would want to separate this. Because like I said, at first I wasn't believing that he was going to take the fall because she still has to go to trial if she does end up going to trial. I don't think she's going to take a plea deal. If they were trying to do something for next week, no,
Next. Yeah. Yeah. That's a
no.
good point. And let me tell you something. Monique thought she was a binder bitch. Their attorney, that woman attorney, that binder was thick. That if she
Mm,
had I wish I could have got a picture of the binder. That
wow.
binder was thick.
Don't you dare take any pictures in that courtroom again.
I'm not.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, whoever took that picture, I think she realized that the rules in Carroll County are different, and I think she will not be ever taking a picture in Carroll County again. I think that person might have been a little shy to take it in front of Carroll County Courthouse, but I think she got over that. But she's got a friend in the bailiff now, so
Well, don't be for now. Look, for now. All right. So they take us back into the courtroom.
yes.
What else happens?
They're trying to come up with a date. They are kind of going back and forth. Prosecution is kind of um, just kind of almost watching while while the
Because they're like,
defense
we're ready whenever.
coming up. That is the energy I got from her. Like, it don't matter. We can do it today. We can do it in November. Ain't nothing changing over here. That's the energy that I got. And they settled on the judge pushed it out to he said basically it doesn't matter that you've waived because it has to be pushed out to
Um,
to May 20th. And that was it.
so so it was pretty short.
It was pretty short. It was, to me, it was short but impactful just because of everything that led up to it before. And we're thinking, again, remember, they filed motions for them to be tried together. Again, that was supposed to be addressed at the last status hearing, but it was canceled. So to go from them filing a motion to want to be tried together again to them, and there was something else that they were supposed to address this hearing, but again, it was a different judge. Not that it would matter, of course, but it
No,
was a different judge to immediately going to, we're talking about trials now,
no.
and they're not being tried together. It kind of took me aback because I'm like, so did they get denied? Did that motion get denied? And they're just not saying that out loud?
Mm. Well, no, I think that would probably be in the court docs at some point.
Right.
So there's no trial date yet.
No trial date yet. The next status. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, there isn't. It's May 20th is the status hearing.
Status hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So this is, I mean, normally they start filming around
Mm-hmm.
around this time, around April, May.
Yep.
So I
Because
definitely think this will
remember,
be a part of it.
the first dates were April 15th and April 22nd. They've been the dates since last year. And now we're talking about a status hearing in May.
Wow.
So, and if
Wow.
Eddie waived his right to a speedy trial, who knows how long this could drag out.
Yeah. I really want to know like the lead again, this is why I would have stopped them when they came out.
I should have.
Not Eddie and Wendy because I don't believe they're going to talk.
Yeah.
I would want to ask the defense more specifically, what is the justification for separating the cases?
Should I
You know,
pop by the office? It ain't far.
I mean, you could reach out to them and ask for a statement. And say,
Yeah.
I am Taria Faison. You probably see me in the courtroom. I just wanted to get a statement. I have a couple of questions if you're willing to answer them.
That's good.
They,
And
all
I
they
did
could all they
tell
could do is say no.
no, and I did tell his attorney her curls were popping today. So I told her in the bathroom. I said your curls are curling. She said thank you, and I said
Mm-mm,
no.
mm-mm. You just waiting them up, just waiting them up. Guys, thank you for coming on in. Taria's Cash App is below because she is an independent journalist, paying her own money to go in all the way to Carroll County and Timbuktu, as Karen said.
As Karen said, speaking of, I told y'all they were showing up in their black SUV from the time
Oh
he
yeah.
started. They were showing up, parked right out front. And y'all, this is what's crazy, y'all. Each hearing that I've been to, it has rained or it has
Oh.
rained right before theirs started and it's been overcast. Every single one.
Mm. I don't know. Is that a good thing or bad thing? They
That's
say
what
they say on during Jazzy's was it Jazzy's wedding? If it rained, they were like, "Oh, it rained on my wedding." It was Jazzy's wedding, right?
Donna brought that up. She said, "Weren't there two of the housewives though that brought it up, and they're now divorced?" But Jazzy's good. But yes, so it was, and I remember that because the first time I went, it was cold and rainy. The second time, it was like over. It had rained before, but it was like overcast, and today it was rainy. You saw the umbrella. They knew they Eddie trying to walk with his arm around Wendy while
I saw
holding
it.
the umbrella. It was clearly for us.
Oh,
It was. They
explain.
They walked out regularly, of course. Eddie held the door for his attorney. You see that in the picture that I took. And then it was almost like a coordinated effort. Boom, boom, let's walk,
Mm.
let's walk. And she could barely move because he has her wrapped. And when
Mm.
I tell y'all, no, in the past hearings they've had, a black SUV pulls right on up. There's a man out there with an umbrella and getting them to the car.
Oh, so you're saying they can't afford the SUV no more?
I'm saying I don't think it's in the budget no more. And where they parked with us common folk. I was able to get a park because ABC News didn't show up, so I was able to get a park right in front of the courtroom this time. If I could tell y'all from where the courthouse was to where they parked, it was like walking the long mile for Jesus,
Timbuktu.
walking the green mile for Jesus. That's what it was, and it was just, and it got there. I got sad for them because it was almost like it's cold, it's rainy, it's dreary. It didn't look good today, and now they're just walking back to their car with no fanfare. No, I am
Mm.
media. Yes, we are media, but to them, they probably
Like
wanted to.
like mainstream media.
Yes, and so I really felt sad for them. Like, what?
Mm.
Like, if it ends like to me, watching them walk away, it's almost like, is this how their story ends? I mean, I know you can always be redeemed and what have you, but in this moment, I was like, they were on. It almost felt like they were on top. They got on Housewives, what she
Mm.
wanted. They're this, they were that. He's got his business. Is this how this part of their story ends? It was really
Especially when you hear others talk about people that work in insurance on how that can affect your life. These types of accusations and charges,
mhm.
no matter if you are convicted or not, how it can affect your life. And
Yes,
I mean, based off the information that we have so far from the prosecution, because we still need to hear their side, their
yeah,
defense. We have not officially or legally. Um, it doesn't look good
no.
for them, but we have to just wait this out.
And it just, like I said, it was, I do believe it was coordinated. My mom called me. I called my mom. We're talking, and she's like, "They knew they were going to be." I said, "Yeah, mom." I like, you could tell it was very much like a. But I will say, he seems very protective of her. It's in the
Th-
little movements. It's in the
Yeah.
touching of the hand, the rubbing of the back. Are you okay? Because you could see, like,
Remember though, when she talked about when she first met him, like he wanted her since go.
yeah, 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 yeah.
You
And
know what I
he
mean?
very protective of her. And it was just, like, I just keep picturing them in my mind, like, and my heart just went out to them, whether they did it or not. That doesn't mean we can't be empathetic to them, because in my mind, I think you have got to be in a place in your life, your
Mm.
finances, that finances can cause divorces. They
Mm-hmm.
cause people to take their lives sometimes, you know what I mean, because they're
Mm.
so entrenched in finances. So I'm like, are we going to find out that they were in such a place that they came up with this?
And that's what we want to know, because at the reunion, when asked about them being in a great financial debt, have little to no money, she refused to answer that. She's like,
Yeah.
she respects the law, and that they can say what they want to say. So I thought that was interesting because she didn't deny it.
She did not exactly. She didn't deny it. And it just, they have something. And that's their, when they explained in court the last time why they wanted those business financials included, is because there were transfers from the personal to the business, from the
Mm.
business to the personal. And they said that there's motive because of their financial debt. There's motive for this crime.
I wonder, I had this thought this week. I wonder if, based off of what they end up finding, if additional charges could follow.
Ooh.
Because that's also another possibility that I reported on in regards to them
Yeah.
separating their case. I wonder if there's a possibility that other charges could happen here. Um,
Mm.
yeah,
One thing I will say to make clear is Wendy, again, I go back to, it's a shame because I do believe the prosecution is playing this out. I do believe that they want to make an example out of Eddie and Wendy. I really, really do. And I'm not saying that
I
they
mean,
shouldn't or that they,
it
but
makes this is the most Carroll County's been in the news and on social media in probably
and,
when was the last time?
I mean, they did a whole press conference about
Yeah,
this. Like,
yeah.
and it wasn't, the focus wasn't the burglary. It was, of course, what happened to them. So
Hmm.
I, it it's hard because I do believe they are playing this out for the media. But again, I just keep going back to thinking about all the evidence they presented. And it's like, I just don't see, I honestly don't see, they would need a miracle. To me, in my mind, they would need a miracle, or like one of those where you see on TV, like the defense knows this person who knows the prosecution. And we're like, hey, if you do this, we'll do that. Because I don't see a world in which
Honestly, I don't.
nothing happens.
I think I've got my law degree
Okay.
after this Diddy trial
Okay.
because I think a lot of people thought that was open and shut case.
Yes.
Like I said before, you're going to probably highly entertained, and I'm not saying that to in joking. No, I think you will be fully entertained by the jury selection process
Okay.
because, and I've talked about this with an
Oh,
actual attorney during our recaps
I keep forgetting.
of the Diddy trial, and she talks about how sometimes you can win or lose a case based off of that jury selection. So I think that would be interesting. At the end of the day, the preponderance of evidence that has to be proven is going to be on the prosecution,
Right.
and that's why they only need a day for the defense, because they just need to add some sort of doubt in the jury's mind.
Right. And but thank you for reminding me, because in my mind I keep forgetting it's going to be a jury trial. I keep looking at it like it's going to be a judge, but you're absolutely right. So I have to walk that back now. They may not need a miracle. They just may need the right jury.
And they hired a very powerful, expensive legal team.
Hmm.
So I did want to ask you though about the judges, because you saw the first judge, which you said he
Hmm.
was very very personable,
Hmm.
type of judge. How would you compare the judges? Because now I believe this is the judge that's going to be over their trial
Hmm.
that we know of for right now, unless something happens with this particular judge. What, based off of your experience of both the judges, what are your thoughts on the judge?
I
Because you
think
also saw Karen's judge, and you talked about how,
he ate her up.
yeah.
This with this judge, watching him, even though these cases had nothing to do with Wendy and Eddie, watching how the way he seemed to listen with these bail reviews and seemed to be very fair, seemed to be really interested in what was in the best interest of the inmate, not just we're going to keep you
Mm,
here because we're going to do. No, we're going to need you. We're going to try to see if we can get you into a program while you're in jail, like for the first. So
mm.
listening to him and the way he navigated them, I was like, oh, he seems like he's going to be fair. And then again, remember, I did my research on this judge, and the reviews were glowing. You know,
Yeah, Griffin's mom says that he's the top judge in Carroll County.
see, and the bailiff that said their job was specifically watch us, he said the judges here are gods, so whatever they say goes. He literally
Mm.
said that. So I think this judge, to me, and Donna, weigh in and let me know what you think. I think that he was very fair in
Okay.
hearing Eddie and hearing Wendy, like they're different. I think he was very fair, and I think he's going to be very fair.
Me time, 1X says Carroll County's social media is disturbing, very pro ICE. Prayers for Eddie and Wendy. I mean,
Wow.
we've heard about Carroll County and,
Mm-hmm.
them being very MAGA as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. The jury selection is going to be interesting.
Has there ever been, let me ask you this because you've worked with hundreds of lawyers, probably
Oh boy,
thousands.
thousands actually.
So, has there ever been a case that you've seen or heard of, and anybody in the comments as well, where a jury selection just couldn't be like they just were having such a hard time? Like, what would happen if it was proven that they were having like such a hard time?
Well, the lawyers that I worked with it was corporate law, so we weren't doing criminal.
Oh,
We weren't doing criminal, but in the cases that we've covered, I mean, things like that can happen, and that's
yes,
why that will probably be because both sides have reasons why they want certain jurors because
yeah.
they want them to, lean
Lean
more
towards
towards
their side.
them.
Yeah.
And that's why you're going to see the defense be that's going to be such an interesting conversation. I can't wait for you to come back
Okay.
during jury selection because and you're going to have to really be like, pay attention
I'm going,
to,
yes, I'm going
like
to
when
be,
you're taking your notes, because some of the things it's going to stand out to you. Why, like, okay, why did they decide on this particular juror, from the defense side, or why were they so against a particular juror? So that's going to be really interesting to see. Because again, we saw what happened with Diddy. I mean, it's the most recent case that we can cite. It's because of that jury that he
yes,
got a soft sentence,
yeah, yeah.
and he wasn't convicted on those lifetime charges.
You, again, I'm glad that you reminded me because I keep forgetting. It's not going to be up to a judge. It's going to be up to
The jury.
the
And two
jury.
different juries.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So because one jury is not going to be the same. So whatever
Right.
jury Wendy gets is not going to be the jury that Eddie gets.
You know what else I was
Oof.
thinking? If they are financially burdened and we
Oof.
know that they get bonuses for the reunion, it's like all
Mm.
that money it has to go to. I mean, I don't
Not
know
in this
what they
case.
have, but I'm thinking going to
Yeah,
legal.
she is not listening to that narrative. Okay. All right.
You may not be listening to it, baby, but
But we know it's expensive. We know, first of
yeah.
all, because they definitely have high powered attorneys. As someone that worked for a law firm for 15 plus years and see how they charge, it's very expensive.
And
And
it's for
and if
two.
this case was happening next week, let me tell you right now, the overtime that would be happening between now and next week. I mean, there's already overtime happening, but yeah,
Wow.
it's the amount of legal assistants and things like that are working on this and looking through the information that the prosecution has. Yeah.
So what is there a time frame? Is there such a thing as okay, we can't take any more than 3 weeks choosing a jury? Like, is there a time frame or can it go as
Well, the
much as
judge
long?
judge is going to manage the time.
Okay,
Yeah, the
okay,
judge is because he also does not want to waste time.
okay, that
So
makes
he's
sense.
going to manage the time.
Yeah, and it's funny because one of the days that they wanted, he had a jury trial that day, so he couldn't
Mm.
be there that day. I was
Yeah.
wondering why they switched the judge, and maybe it's because they had pushed it out to April, so maybe that was when he was available. Because otherwise, I'm like, I wonder why. Because this judge today, when their last hearing was canceled, it was supposed to be this judge. It
Mm.
wasn't supposed to be the other one. So I think it's interesting how, as a matter of fact, I got to go back and check this. I've seen this judge's name on their paperwork before, so I don't know if this was even the initial judge. So I'm going to
Yeah.
go back and check. But yeah,
Miss Esquire, is that you down there? Tennessee Diva Esquire? Yeah, everybody got different names. We just did a collaboration with, I was live on TikTok yesterday, and Miss Esquire called in to weigh in on some of the other legal cases on my docket this week. Before I let you go, do you have some time? Because I already kept you
Yeah,
over an
yeah,
hour.
yeah.
I wanted to hear your thoughts, though, on some of the other Bravo related legal stuff that since you are now our in-house legal eagle and journalist. I wanted to hear your thoughts on some of the cases that we were covering this past week when it comes to Kenya Moore and her hair spa, Kenya Moore and the Brit Eady of it all.
Oh, baby.
Um, oh wait, oh yeah, that is Miss Esquire. Hey, Miss Esquire, let me know if you want
Hi,
to come
Miss
up.
Esquire.
Okay, we'll start. Let's first start with the. Have you been following Natasha K and the uh Cardi B of it all? They're back in.
Well,
They're still fighting over that money.
I saw something and I wanted to get back into it. So what is going on now? Is Tasha still hiding money allegedly?
That's what I think Cardi believes.
Uh-huh.
But they came to an agreement last year to 1.2 million that she would pay over 5 years. She still has to pay the rest of it.
Oh, she
But
does?
yes, she still does. But they gave her 5 years because she filed for bankruptcy. And we
Yes,
talked
I
about
know.
bankruptcy before. She filed for bankruptcy and they came to an agreement because Cardi was like, you're not going to be able to just wash your hands of this debt.
Yeah.
So they gave her 5 years to pay 1.2 million. But Cardi wants the judge to force Tasha to come in and show all of her financials in regards
Yeah,
to that. Because I think she believes that she's hiding money.
I think so too. And I was
I mean,
wondering,
if she's hiding money, she already hid it.
well, it's going and maybe in other people's names. That's what
Her,
I was
her one of her LLCs is called Stash Money LLC. Oh no, Stash Money Works LLC.
see.
Stash Money LLC is what it's called.
So,
Wait,
am I back? Sorry,
yeah,
my
you're back.
daughter
You're
had
back.
called. Okay, she's playing, and see that it's like, girl, you're playing with fire. I feel like because Cardi's not going to let up.
No. And look, and I said this yesterday. Part of me would be like, oh, this is just too much. Like, I don't want that energy in my life.
Yes, yes,
However, I get it. She's doing it for the principal, but I think you already proved your point. You won the case. You won a multi-million-dollar judgment. And I
and
feel like you set a new precedent when it comes to people like us that cover hot topics in celebrity news.
look at with Meg Thee Stallion and Milagros. Meg won
Mm,
her case. That's another one.
that's another one, but it wasn't a
So
multi-million-dollar
wasn't multi-million,
settlement.
maybe multi-thousands, but not
Yeah,
multi-million.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
So
I hope that card. It's like I hope that Cardi gets. If it was me, I would want my money. But at the same time, like you said, it's almost like, is it more of a headache to stick to the principle of it,
yeah,
or is it like, you know? Can you hear anything?
no.
My bedroom door opened, so I just okay.
Was it a ghost?
Well,
No.
actually, our door, since when we bought the house, we have to replace the door. It kind of, if you don't slam it, it kind of like swings open.
Oh.
So as we were talking, it was like, and I was like, is this Wendy and Eddie coming in?
The I'm not going to go with it. We talked about a while ago. I don't remember where it was. I don't know if it was on TikTok or somewhere. We talked about bankruptcy before.
Yeah,
Pinky
TikTok.
Cole filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Yes.
Ms. Esquire gave a really great legal thoughts on the bankruptcy, and I've been saying, especially when we had a conversation about bankruptcy and changing the narrative around bankruptcy. We saw Pat McGrath recently filed for Chapter
Yeah.
11. Right after that, a couple of weeks later, she has gotten $30 million in funding for her company. We've
Boom.
seen millionaires and billionaires. The president of the United States has filed for bankruptcy multiple times. What are your thoughts on Pinky Cole? She even made a parody of her, like, this is what
Oh,
people think, bankruptcy looks like,
bankruptcy is
where she's like homeless and she's leaving. Mind you, I think it's very intentional that she's showing us this huge entrance
to
as
her.
she's walking through with her
Yes.
Rolls Royce in the driveway as she
Like,
walks to the street. I'm like, she
okay,
ain't hurting.
I said that Pinky is protecting what she has to me with
Mm.
this bankruptcy, and it's a reorganization. So I think, and Miss Esquire, correct me if I'm wrong, with a Chapter 11, a reorganization, are they paying like a fraction of what they would normally pay? I know that they've reorganized their debts, but it's not like a seven where she's wiping it, and it's in her business name, not hers. But I will say, as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, she's smart.
Mm.
But then I thought, now is Angela going to come to the reunion and say, Pinky, I was wondering, were you going to buy my foreclosed houses before or after the reorganization? I was just wondering, because when she told her I should have bought all your, foreclosed properties. But I will say, we have to. You said it. We have to shift our mindset around bankruptcy.
Yeah.
This could have saved Wendy and Eddie a lot if they had have done that. If they had have maybe
We,
did
but we don't know what they're. I mean, don't you put that narrative on them, okay?
No, okay,
That
I'll say this.
narrative.
Let me back that. If they were having financial issues, that would have saved them.
Yeah,
Versus,
they have not admitted to any financial issues,
yes.
having little no
So
money. Hey,
if
Lonnie. Lonnie says business bankruptcy is the new norm. Now, personal bankruptcy can ruin some people for years. Sachs filed two and got millions in new loans.
see, I
Oh,
mean,
Miss Esquire is answering your question. She says it depends. Sometimes it's pennies on the dollar,
okay,
but sometimes it can be good for certain creditors. Just depends on the reorganization.
okay, and is that depend when reorganization? Does it depend on how they organize it? Like
Mm.
this creditor is
And we
getting,
don't really know the details of
yeah,
her bankruptcy. You know, that just becomes the big headline. Oh, she
yeah,
filed for bankruptcy. So now everybody, and that's the thing. I see the comment section and you just see, and I hate that's for us as a people that we are not educating ourselves, especially now when Google is free.
and we go to they're broke, they're broke. Actually, it, it's like the more you live, the more you learn. You hope to, if
Mhm.
you're open to it, the more, and it's
Especially
like
now. It's different when we
yes,
didn't have social media and we didn't have access and we couldn't really communicate with people from around the world and from different levels
yes.
we have financial experts like Amanda Francis from Beverly Hills. I'm joking. I mean, look, some probably do consider her that.
Listen, if you can manifest money and get your money by teaching other people to breathe like they're rich, go for it.
Honestly, you already manifesting money. You're either manifesting more money or you're manifesting money being taken away from you. You
Yeah.
don't realize it.
And I'm of the belief that manifest more. Like I wanted her cup. I wish she would send me one, the manifestation glass, because it'd be a reminder every time I took a drink. Yes, to continue to think positive and manifest this money. I liked her idea of the party. I liked it.
Yeah. Angel says, I've done it. I done it over 10 years ago and I was good again within 6 months.
Oh, you are. Let me tell you, if you could file a Chapter 7 today, as soon as it's discharged, Capital One is probably going to be the first one that say, here, take this credit card and go. Yeah.
Mm.
It's not what people think
Which
it is.
is also a bad, when it comes to our country, it's bad in that way because then I feel like it becomes a cycle.
And if you're not careful, you'll get caught up in it
Yeah.
again. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. But I just wish people would not. We've got to come out of this trying to keep up with the Joneses who either don't know you or don't like you. Like if this is the case with Wendy and Eddie, and if this, let's just say it comes out that it was for this show, and it's
Mm.
like you were trying to keep up for people that didn't even like you.
Ooh.
Like think about it. Like they didn't even, and now you could be, if this is
But
one of the
is she
reasons.
keeping up necessarily just for the show? Or is she trying to keep up also for her community?
You know what? That could be it too. Yeah, that could be it. And
You
the
know what I
community's
mean?
watching the show
Hmm.
and they expect a certain
Yeah.
lifestyle. Yeah,
Like you can't,
I,
like she can't come up on that show looking like Giselle. I'm, I'm just saying. Just guys, if you're just joining us, I'm here with Taria Faison from the What Else Is Going On podcast. Be sure to follow her here. She's been following this Wendy and Eddie Osefo criminal case. She's been here on my channel, both here on YouTube and on Instagram. So you can check out some of her past coverage here as well. You can also hear this on the Kempire podcast. Be sure to check out the description for more details. Right now on Instagram, for those that are live with us on Instagram, that is her Cash App. She's an independent journalist doing this. So any dollar amount helps. A dollar, two. I mean, don't be sending nobody two. Y'all got $5. Y'all got $5. $5. I mean, if you have a dollar, come on, send it. All right. And if you're watching the replay of this, I am posting all of her information in the description. And before I let you go, I want to ask you about the Kenya of it all. So Kenya is in the middle of a battle with her landlord, but then she also mentioned Britt Edie's name in her caption the other day. And Britt Edie had some very interesting words in her Instagram story on Kenya talking about her on Sunday's live that Kenya did.
Can
Oh,
you?
Andreas is in the chat. He says, "Hey, Taria, great to see you on Sunday at Ashley." Andreas, you everywhere, aren't you?
Hey, Andreas, sending you love and hugs. If you
Look,
could see, Andreas looked good on Sunday. I said, "Come on, he looked good." um, with Kenya, it was so funny because I did a video about it, right? And I said, Kenya has a way of getting her supporters to think something based on how she positions it. And then I'm going to try to do this. So remember last year when we
Before you
saw,
finish that, Miss Parker says, "Kenya, wordplay more."
come on, thank you, Miss Park. Hey, Miss Park.
That's why every time I say her name, I think when you say that.
I love it. She said exactly what I was getting ready to go with it. I'm going to go backwards for a minute. Last year, when that internal memo from Sally's came out that said at the end of the year, we will no longer be selling her products. The email said at the end of the year. So we were reporting what the email said at the end of the year. Kenya does a video of her dressed in all black, like she's going into Sally's and she's doing
Yes.
a roll, and and her supporters are immediately said, "See, it's still in Sally's." The email didn't say it wasn't in Sally's. The email said at the end of the year. So she knows how to say things. Before we knew that she was going to be suspended for the rest of the season, she gets on Instagram Live and says, "I'm not going anywhere." She did not say, "I'm not leaving the show." And then sure enough, her supporters came out and said, "See, she said she's not going nowhere. She's going to be back on the show." So Kenya got me, and I'm so mad she got me because she said, I reported her headline or her thing that said, and an encounter with Britt Eady.
Yeah.
And when I said that, somebody said in my comments, she didn't say she had an encounter. And I said, she got me. But this proves my point about Kenya.
She plays those games. I don't
She
think she should have
plays
mentioned Britt Eady at all,
not
especially
at
because she
all.
knows the network is in the middle of litigation because of something that you did.
You did.
I'm not saying that Britt Eady didn't do anything first.
Right.
However, you did something that now has legal ramifications. And even the mention of her during her live on Sunday, I said, the network is going to be like hands off. No, we're not working with her. There's no current contract with her. Those legal docs are going to the networks are going to clearly say to her attorney and to the court, if this even goes to trial, we have no working relationship with Kenya Moore at this very moment.
Yeah. But when I saw that,
But Kenya
everybody,
said, I'm sorry, Kenya said during her live, she was just like, I have a good relationship. I talk to them regularly. I was like, they're going to be on her phone.
stop talking about us. Like, stop, because you could be putting us in. So, because,
You're
like you said,
proving their case. You're proving Britt Eady's case.
yes, that exactly. So when I saw that headline and I read it, and then I immediately thought, when that comment said that, I said, and this is what I mean. I don't want to have to think I'm Jedi mind tricked every time Kenya says something, because but she gets the I think people are catching on now, though,
You
that
think?
like that. I think people are kind of like Kenya.
Like Team
And
Twirl?
yes, I think some people are catching on, which leads me to my next question about this. Maybe Miss Esquire can answer this. So
Lonnie says, why don't they send her a cease and desist?
cease and desist.
I'm
I
sorry.
just
I don't mean to laugh at that, but
or what did
I think I
Tamara say?
would.
What did Tamara say? A desist and cease or something like, or desist or something. So
Mm.
here's my question about this lawsuit. I know that it's in her business name. Um, if if the landlord didn't do what they're supposed to do, residential uh, or commercial like hers, you put the money in escrow. I've done that before with my old townhouse place. They didn't fix something. I paid the money to escrow.
Mm.
Once it was fixed, the money was then to them. Kenya says that she paid the money to escrow. It has now come out that a judge ruled you have to pay this in February, at the end of February, and this at the end of March. So if she had the money, if she was actually paying it in escrow, and the judge ruled, unless she's filing an appeal, wouldn't it be easy for her to then just go to the escrow and pay what she owes them if it's in escrow? Isn't that how that works?
Well. I can't rely on what Kenya says, but I did read, and I literally have the court order
Okay.
that she was supposed to pay into the almost $44,000 she was supposed to pay by like February 19th, and she didn't, and that's when they moved towards the writ of possession,
Yes.
which is like an eviction. The move for an eviction. She wasn't evicted yet.
Right.
But she said on her live again, like you said, she plays a lot of semantics. She was like, "Oh, but the clerk has now said that the case is closed." So I don't know if that means she paid, if there was a settlement. She didn't divulge anymore.
The case that's it. The case is just
Case
closed.
closed.
We
I
went
was
from
just
filing for a writ of possession to a case closed.
yeah. I will give in her defense. I will say this. I don't understand why TMZ reported that she owes them nearly like 80 something thousand dollars because we're not at the end of March yet.
Right. That's very true.
So
So
I
she
thought
just
that was weird that that was their headline. She owes them nearly 80 something thousand, nearly 90 something thousand. Like, well, technically it's not even, it was, I think at that particular point, it wasn't even March.
it
And I
wasn't
was
even
like, how we get to March payment? We didn't get there yet.
right because she
Okay.
has till that. But I was just wondering if unless she's appealing, which I don't even know if an appeal would
Well,
stay.
she's countersuing them for that 80,000 that she says that that she's owed in tenant improvement allowance.
Okay. Because
That's what she says. And that's important for us to know. That's what she says.
says yes.
And she is countersuing them, but
If
I mean, I hate this for Kenya because
me
it didn't
too.
have to be this way.
I just I was not Kenya's biggest fan, but I did not want to see her go out like this.
Yeah.
For she went out and didn't want to go out over someone who walked away. You know what I mean? Like she did. Brittany just walked away from it. Like
If she didn't do what she did, she could have still been on the network. She would have been on Ultimate Girlship. She would have been on Traders. Like that's a bag.
yes,
And then season 17, she would have been back.
yeah. It just makes me. You ever and y'all in the chat too, I'm sure, and you have you ever made a decision and then like a second later you're like, oh my God, like let me wake up and get that 1 second back, please, please. I just need to do over. I
No,
need to do over.
no.
Oh, of course.
Because I'm a Taurus and I
I
really
was
think I'm not
I
saying that
was
won't
gonna
ever happen, but
no.
I really
I
think
was
things
gonna
through.
say you're a Taurus. I was
And it
literally
takes me a
going.
long time to make a final decision
So
sometimes.
those of y'all in the chat, have y'all ever been there? I know I did.
Everyone else.
Yeah, yeah, everybody else, but Tauruses, May Tauruses, have y'all ever done that? And I can't help but think. I wonder if Kenya like just beats herself up, like when she's by
I mean,
herself.
that could also go for if this is what actually happened. We can go for Wendy and Eddie too. Do they
Yes, if I
regret?
could just take that 1 second back, like God, please give me that 24-hour redo back so I could, because it
If you
could.
didn't call the police about that burglary?
And I was laying down, and Eddie ran into the room and said, "Babe, the police are here." So I jumped up, and me and my long 5'10" body was sprinting across the breezeway, the hallway, the
That's a
breezeway.
breeze roll.
And I got to the door, and in the words of Jaheim, I said, "Officer,
Mm-mm.
officer." And I opened the door, my nap wig blowing in the wind. And as I wiped the
I'm
sleep
a
from
nat
my
wig.
eyes, the officer says, "Hello, do you remember me?" And she said, "No." And he said, "I'm the one that investigated your burglary." And she said, "By golly, you found the burglars." And he said, "Ma'am, there was no burglary." And see,
I mean, I have to say, despite all of the evidence that might be against them, Wendy really shined at this
she
reunion,
did.
despite everything that she was going through.
She
Danny
shined.
says, "OMG, I'm dying." Oh,
She
the
shined.
reenactment.
Listen, can't y'all know that she was sleeping in something silk? The way she painted the
Oh,
picture,
the way you blowing in the wind in the breezeway.
she was blowing, "Are my kids okay?" She was echoing. All I could picture was her house when she said that. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was called that. What called that? I thought it was just like an extended
I haven't
holiday.
heard that term in a long time.
I said, that's almost like saying veranda. Like, huh? Okay, okay, Breezeway.
Yeah, this is
Sh-
not silk.
Shout out
They
to
are
our
dying in the
mutual
chat.
friend, Brooke Ashley. Her Potomac Live. Those folks have done a
I
playbill.
have to go back and rewatch it because I came in at I think somewhere in the middle. But they
I
said,
was there
Kempire, you got to
week.
go back and watch.
Well, I watched the replay, but when she said, "Hey, Kempire," when I tell you, I text her. She had me screaming. Somebody has made up a playbill. A playbill.
I saw that. I did see that.
Breezeway and the kids. The kids. The kids. But here's my question, and I know it probably won't get answered. So I had heard that they were given a heads up that this was happening, so they were going to be able. So they were allowed. They went in later because um, so her sister and her mom could get the kids. So it's interesting that that's kind of being like talked around because on part one of the reunion, she says um, her kids weren't there. And I wanted Andy to be like, well, it was a school night. So where, like, or when were you arrested? Was school in, was not. And then even now, people were saying, somebody said, well, I thought when she said she ran across the breezeway and say, are my kids okay? And people were saying, I thought you said your kids weren't there. I do wonder if for a second if her kids were there, did she think, oh my God, the police are here, did something? Because if a policeman is at your door, and if you're not thinking you're going to jail, you would be like, wait, did something happen with a family member? But at the
Yeah,
same time, I was like, well, if they were truly given a heads up, then she knew they were coming. So for me, I was like, I don't know, something doesn't make sense. I don't know.
yeah.
But I just know that had to be a terrifying feeling. When somebody knocks on my door too hard, the ancestors in me go,
I mean, anytime you see police at your door, it's like,
when they're
especially as a
in my
black
neighborhood.
person.
They're in my neighborhood. One lives a couple houses down. And sometimes I just walk outside and go, his
Mm-mm.
truck. And I'm like, he might be a good cop. Like, I don't know. But it's just something about a police, like you said, as a black person, it's like, I don't even know what you're like,
Like, what are you here for?
what are you here for? I don't want nothing to do. When they
Like
say
I felt for Garcelle when her home was swatted, and she talked about they put her in handcuffs.
that's and as a black person, you think at the slightest thing could go wrong, I could be killed. What if your nose itches? What if you sneeze and they like all
You
these
move wrong.
you're terrified.
Mm-hmm.
Terrified. So I give Wendy credit at the reunion. She shined both mentally and physically because
Mm-hmm.
she looked beautiful. As much as I didn't want her to say what she said, I also appreciate that she showed up and was trying to be as open as she could. Again, I wish that she hadn't told that entire story because it wasn't until I watched it was either your live or video you did where you said someone brought up a good point. I think it was you. Someone brought up a good point of she shouldn't have brought Cam into it because what if Cam is questioned?
No. Yeah.
So, but I still think, in spite of all that, she shined, and I think the ladies actually did go easier on her than I thought they would.
I don't think they're equipped to go hard on
Oh yeah,
Wendy.
we
Wendy
said that.
Wendy really is. I feel like she's definitely evolved as a housewife and the way
Mm-hmm.
she carried, not even just her look and her fashion.
Yeah.
She knows how to navigate these conversations, and I definitely don't think this cast of ladies are witty enough to
Mm-hmm.
keep up with her. To be honest, I think if she was on another show, another city like Atlanta, then I would be a little concerned.
Yeah,
But
a lot. It's
I don't think they're that quick. Um,
even Ashley saying about the social security numbers, and Wendy said I only have one, and then she's going, Wendy's blowing like
mhm.
or something, and I was like, she really is handling this like a champ because really she can't look at how is the audience going to look at me because you're never going to win. Some are going to say you're too flippant. Some are going to say you're not enough. If you had came out of here crying, people would say, oh, she's guilty, or what are you crying for? So at the end of the day, she just had to play it how she felt comfortable.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
just hoping that she didn't get herself into any trouble. What did irritate me, and I know we're going to go soon, but is Karen's attitude. You said it, but I
Oh,
think you tweeted about her snotty attitude, and it just was so off-putting to me. Like, shout out to Millie Chun. She said, Karen, you are a fresh felon. How dare you come out as if you are better than you taught a couple classes and now you're the authority on all of this.
do we even believe that she really taught a couple of classes?
Almost because British from Basketball Wives said she was in there teaching. So
Maybe this is what they tell them.
yes,
But
yeah,
they're being super. They're like teachers' assistants.
like they're supervising their homework in a book. Like paragraph one says blah 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 blah, like that. Not teaching, but
Yes,
like that. Because, but just the way she came out, the way she was so smug, and
arrogant.
when she asked Stacy, "Did you lie this season?" and Stacy said, "What did I lie about?" She said, "You lied about TJ last year and now this year." She never brought up, "You lied about what I supposedly said about Wendy." So it probably wasn't a lie.
I don't think it was a
But you're
lie.
mad at Wendy for
I
believing.
look. I want to ask the replay crew, those that are watching right now, if Stacy turned to Karen and said, "Are you still drinking?" How would y'all? How would y'all have felt? I just want to ask the question. Would y'all have been mad at
No.
Stacy? Because I have to give Stacey credit. Anytime she's been asked in interviews on the show, she has been gracious to Karen.
Yes.
Even when Karen's friend of 10 plus years, Giselle, is asked, yes, Giselle has been supportive, but Giselle still is, making snarky remarks,
Yes.
talking about it on her podcast. Stacey has been gracious. So I wouldn't expect Stacey to say something like that. And I'm not going to even repeat what you said earlier. We'll keep that for Kempire After Dark.
That might have to be kitchen table.
That might be kitchen table, so never mind. Because damn.
I can
Because
give
even
half
I
of it.
clutched my pearls when you said it to me. I said, Taria!
Y'all, all I'm gonna say is people need to stop talking about people's mamas. That's all I'm gonna say. If unless you're ready for yours to be talked about.
Well,
What did
look,
Portia
well.
say? Wrong road.
Sidebar, did you see
Wrong
the
road.
new video? I'm blocked, but Portia, I still get to see the stuff.
Honey,
Um,
that's my fellow journalist sister. Don't.
oh,
Hey, sister.
a mess. Andrea C. Lancy, thank you so much for buying a badge. We appreciate your support. Coco said, I got my live stream ticket. Yes, guys, don't forget Empire
Yes.
After Dark, March 13th. That's next Friday. Taria Faison will be our hostess with the mostest. She's got tea about some stuff that's happening in the DMV street, stuff that she's holding on to that she hasn't shared anywhere else. But if you can't be in New York and you can't get the meet and greet, whatever it may be, there is a live stream option. So anyone from around the world can watch it. If you're watching the replay of this, be sure to check out the description, check out my bio. Taria, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Let people know where they can follow you, where what's coming up for you.
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me, chat. Thank you for always being so supportive. Y'all know I love y'all so much. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Threads. Those are my three. I love Threads. Because
Yeah,
you can just like
terrific.
literally read about plants or like get reaffirming life, answers. But it's at WeGo WEIGO podcast. I am on YouTube at WeGo WEIGO podcast. For those of you that don't know, that stands for What Else Is Going On. And wherever it is you listen to your podcast audio, type in What Else Is Going On podcast, and you can find me there. And once a month you can find me down in Carroll County, child, at
Oh,
the courthouse.
well, the next time you have to go is when? May?
May 20th.
Okay, so we got a little bit of time in between
I got a
now
little
and
bit
then,
of
unless
time.
there's a plea deal.
That's what I was going to say. I'm going to keep checking. I do wonder what would be the thing for them to push as a plea deal. Maybe I'll do what you said and email them questions and see.
All they could do is not respond
Yeah.
or say, no comment.
I tell you what, if I'm driving, because I often think like if I'm driving and if I got one of them in my car, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to ask questions.
That's hilarious. Nikki, yes, we will be reposting this on the Tube of You, or YouTube as we like to call it. You can also hear it on the Kempire podcast, Kempire. Make sure you subscribe. And thank you, Taria, for doing this. And again, Taria's Cash App is right below. Thank you, Lonnie, for buying a badge. Taria S. Faison, Cash App. She's doing all of this for free, going to the courthouse, driving from Baltimore, having big fun in Baltimore to having big fun in Carroll County. Okay. Sidebar, shout out to Alexander Rogers, that new video that he did where he relives the Cosby Show between Claire
I was
and
screaming.
I
I,
said,
I,
this is gold. I loved it. I
I
loved it. I
texted
loved
him
it.
today, but not about that, but I was screaming. Like
Yes.
Alex is hilarious.
He's a mess. He's a mess. And Alex has opened for me twice in California and during my last Philly show. Alex is hilarious. So be sure to follow Alex as well. I will see you all on March 13th. Thank you to everyone watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like the video and follow our guest, Taria Faison. Here she go with the bob. Okay, Maxine Shaw. I felt that was a little racist when Ashley called you Maxine Shaw. Just
Well,
saying.
I will tell you, I had a whole lot of people in my comments saying, I'm surprised she knew who that was. I said, oh, well, there we go. She threw me for a minute. So what I decided to take that in as, oh, you sense this strong energy as well.
But you ended up liking her by the end. You think she should come back next season, you said?
No, I didn't say that. He putting words in my mouth. Y'all, he's doing the Kenya Moore. I did not say that.
Maybe. Look, maybe. Taria, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank
Again, guys,
you.
we have our March 13th date. Taria will be here. We'll probably go live and do stuff before the show. But
I'm coming in your hotel room. I'm like, open this door. Break
good.
yourself, fool. I know.
I will see you guys at Green 42, March 13th. Taria will be our hostess with the mostest. We'll be spilling tea, things that we haven't spilled anywhere else. There's a live stream option only for this show. So if you've never experienced a Kempire After Dark live show, this is your opportunity. Go get your tickets today. Taria, I will see you on March 13th. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. I have a bone to pick with you, though. I've spilled you my tea that I'm going to spill, but you ain't spilled me yours that you're going to spill. I have a own.
You'll be in the house. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.